Hey, I'm not ready to be alive. Oh my goodness, good morning. I'm not quite there yet with Facebook, so hold on 2 seconds.
Yeah, usually it asks me to push another button.
Okay, I'm just about done. Good morning. Yeah, but I don't like this light, Daddy, at all. So much shadow. Good morning, everybody. We are not in our normal spot this morning because we have house guests, so our lighting is a little bit wonky. So I was trying to fix it, but I don't know if that's possible because I have like teeny little space. So we're just gonna have to live with the shadow today, and I apologize. I hope that everybody's had a wonderful weekend. You can see some bags under my eyes. We had a little partying going on this weekend. I'm a little bit tired. Yes, we had a little partying going on this weekend. I'm a little bit tired. I have a couple announcements. So first of all, if you are following us on Instagram, we just started IGTV and put our first post up there last week, and I think that you should go watch it because I think it's a really good post, and I think you will enjoy it. It's about partners supporting your partner, and so I think it's a pretty important post, and I think we're going to be doing things like that on a regular basis, fairly regular basis. In fact, if you have some topics that you want me to cover, just shout. We'll also be probably putting some of our Monday video content over there as well as time goes on. And so please join us over there as well. And it's not live video. We won't be putting live video in the IGTV space, but definitely we'll be putting some other pieces over there. So go check us out there. If you're not following us on Instagram, we are Waldorf_essentials over there. And okay, let's see what other announcements do we have. Oh, we're having a big flash sale. So if you have not gotten our email, or if you're on our email list and just haven't checked your email, we've got a flash sale going on right now for, we just put together some curriculum bundles. I know that some people love it when you can have several different grades all in one space. And so we've just put those together, and we had them together on the old site. I just hadn't gotten around to putting them together on the new site. But so we have those together now, and we are doing like a crazy, remember when we did the kindergarten crazy deal? This is another crazy deal. So grades, the math for grades 1 through 5, and then grades 1 through 5, all in one bundle. Right now, through this week, for $58. It's such a crazy, I'm silly, but it's like 75% off or something crazy like that. So if you are in need of any of those grades, and please don't send me a message and say, will you discount it if I only need one of those grades? Nope. It's already hugely discounted. So there's that. And then if you've got upper grades kids, so grades 6 and up, we have a bundle there for that as well that is separate and smaller. And so that would be geometry grade 6, 7, 8, and 9, and that is $30. And so if you have any questions about that, shout me out and just drop me a message either on Facebook, or you're welcome to send me an email at melissa@waldorfessentials.com, or you can send it to waldorfessentials.com. Or waldorfessentials@gmail.com. Sorry. So Kelly is putting a link over here in Facebook in the links in the comments. And so if you have any questions, shout out at me. Let's see. There was one more. Oh, our summer camp starts this Friday. If you're not signed up for summer camp, you need to. So it's going to be 4 amazing days, 2 days this weekend, 2 days next weekend, of just learning, and it's going to be learning with your partner. It's going to be some planning, and I'm going through the grades. Each grade gets about an hour, and I'm going through each grade, everyone, from first grade, or actually from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade by the time we're done. And so we're going to be talking about art pieces. We're going to be talking about, layout of the year, things to expect for that year, different aspects of each year of the curriculum. So if this is something that you're interested in, please sign up. It's waldorfessentials.com/camp. no, I lied. melissanielsen.com/camp. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and Kelly can drop the link for that one in the comments as well. So those are the reminders. Was there anything else that I needed to remember that you could think of? I think that's all of them. Okay. All right, let's talk about our topic today. This is kind of a sticky topic, and I get people that yell at me when I approach this topic. And I'm going to tell you why. Why I'm approaching this topic. And this is a topic I've actually been talking about for a lot of years. And the reason why I talk about this is because what we have often, and I'm not saying always, you might be the exception to the rule. I'm just saying what we have often is, I'm going to pull from over here and over here and over here and over here and over here. And then I'm going to plan it all out. But then what happens is nothing happens. Spend so much time in this planning phase, and it's so exhausting, and you're pulling from so many resources from so many different places, like all the Waldorf curriculum vendors, and then, oh, well, I don't think this is enough, and that's not enough, and then you exhaust yourself, and you can't come up with a cohesive plan. So I'm going to give you two different suggestions. One, if you really want to write your own curriculum, you should write your own curriculum. And I think that there is no reason to not do that. I think that we have a great writing your own curriculum course if you really want to know the nuts and bolts of Steiner and what a Waldorf curriculum should have, and then you can tailor it to your own child. So we have a writing your own curriculum course that I think is fantastic, and it goes through all of those pieces. All of them. It helps you lay it out. It tells you the whys, the hows, the when, how to work with different temperaments for children, all of that. So I would suggest that. That's my first suggestion. My second suggestion is pick one. If you're going to not write your own, pick one and stick with it. And the reason why I say that is because the Waldorf curriculum is like all of the major curriculum writers, we're going to be just about the same at least our content should be about the same. And so, and there's going to be some variations, of course. So I would say pick the voice you appreciate the most and purchase that and stick with it. And write the author when you have struggles and ask them questions, and get support from it. And the reason why is because I want you to be in the doing phase rather than I have to collect all these resources phase. And then you get so burned out by collecting the resources and then trying to write your curriculum from like 4 resources phase. And then you get so burned out by collecting the resources and then trying to write your curriculum from like 4 different places, and you're trying to use, this person's language arts and this person's history, and it's a lot of work. And my aim is to really make Waldorf doable. Nobody has the time to do that. And you might be saying to yourself, but I do. I really like your voice over here, and Donna from Christophorus's voice from over here, and I really like Live Ed's voice for this. I'm going to challenge you to pick one, even if it's not me. The reason why I want you to pick one is because I think your life will be so much easier if you just pick one and stick with it. Pick one, read it from page 1 to the end, drink it in, do the proper planning, and go from there. Know that with all of the major curriculum writers in general, with Waldorf in general, you do not need an extra math, and you do not need an extra language or an extra English curriculum, language curriculum. You do not need something extra for writing. You do not need something extra. You don't need something extra for grammar. You don't need. If you follow our curriculum as written, you will have incredibly brilliant children. I think the same could probably be said for all of the major curriculum writers. That's why we write what we write, and that's why we go through the depth that we go through. Now, a lot of people will say, "Gosh, I'm just really worried. I'm really worried that if I don't have an extra like language arts grammar curriculum, that my child's just not going to be like good enough when it comes to this." I have to tell you, Not the case. When you start doing summaries on day 1 in first grade, oh, I guess that would be day 2, but week 1 in first grade, that very first summary, that very first action starts you on the path to having a good writer. And we have videos on that. So if you, if you have questions about that, we have a Monday video on the writing curriculum. We have a Monday video on the reading curriculum. We have a Monday video on all of those pieces that go within the Waldorf curriculum. So I suggest that if you are having some struggles there, that you check out the rest of the Monday videos. It's a playlist on our YouTube site, and we also have them on our website under podcasts. So I'm just saying to you, save yourself some work. Save yourself a lot of work. Pick one author, stick with it. Like I said, of course, I would love for you to use Waldorf Essentials, but I am more concerned that you have a good year than I am that you use us. I am more concerned that you feel confident in your work with your planning and with your child than I am that you use us. It does not serve me to say, use us, and then have you not be able to sort of connect with me. And I think that's super important. I think it's important that you connect with the author that you are following. And so I 100% believe that you need to pick whose voice that speaks out to you. And then from there, you've chosen, and you need to walk that path, and you need to ask for help when you need help. So if you're picking somebody that doesn't allow you to ask for help for free, you might want to think about that. But hopefully you can get the help that you need, and that will sort of help spur your growth path forward with regards to Waldorf homeschooling and the curriculum. So really, I wanted to make sure that, as we are in this planning season, what often ends up happening is we get down to the wire, and rather than taking the time to go through one piece completely, we have moms that get really nervous and they're going through 10 different pieces at the same time. Did you have some questions on YouTube? Nope, you're good over there. So we don't have any questions over here either. That was my topic pretty much. Does anybody have any, we have a lot of watchers over here. Does anybody have any thoughts, suggestions, criticisms, questions? I'm happy to sort of tackle them. I will say that usually when I bring this topic up, what I get is, oh, but Melissa, I really enjoyed the process of putting it all together. And I just want to say to you, no, you don't. You think you do. What you're enjoying is the not thinking about the actual doing. I've worked with so many families, and it's very rare for me to find somebody who feels like at the end of the year when they've done that they executed everything well. Because you're going in too many different directions. I want to simplify this for you. This does not have to be complicated. And excuse me. I sort of also want you to be able to look beyond the Waldorf curriculum and as far as like into yourself and really understand why you do the things you do. So Rhiannon asked me off topic, where did you get your necklace? A friend made it for me a long time ago. It's this very cute, very primitive little clay mushroom. And I forgot I had it in my jewelry box, and so I pulled it out the other day. Thank you. Okay, let's see. And Rhiannon also says, I feel the hard part of putting it into practice is the children fight with you. Do you have any encouragement in that area? See, I don't know what you're saying about fighting, because I definitely have had children that fight about school in general. But when it comes to actually doing the curriculum, when I am doing my job, there's no fighting. And so by my job, I am well prepared. I have all my prop pieces done. So there's no often the children that fight us are the ones that are trying to find a way to not trust us. And so we have to be there and on it for them. We have to be confident. And when we are confident, then it works. And so, we've got our prop piece done if it's the lower grades. We are completely steeped in the topic if it's the upper grades. We know what we're doing. We've practiced the form drawings. We've practiced the drawing techniques we're going to bring to them that day. We have some um, some short summaries in our mind if we're working on first or second grade, just so that it's easier to help them sort of coach them along. So we're doing that homework. And we're ready and we're present. You're saying it's mostly with schedule. So I know you have a big family like I do. So really and truly, you have to get good at rotating, and we talk about that in the mom lesson on several children. We also talk about that in a couple of different podcasts that we have. And so I think really what you do is you have to make sure that you fiddle with the schedule that works for your kids. So let's see. She goes on to say, my daughter gets really upset when a schedule is put into place, but then she's miserable when we aren't doing anything. It's very stressful, and I feel like I'm failing her. I've been a collector for so many years, and now I'm living more as a doer, and she's having a hard time. Yeah, so it's a habit you have to break. And also, I want to say, moms, that I would, and this is partially fueled by something that we have going on in our life right now. There's some words y'all have to learn, and this is it. Are you ready? I want you to imprint this on your brain. Get over it. It is okay to say that to your child. Now that sounds cruel and heartless and unattachment parenting and not positive parenting at all. But let me give sort of context to that. When we are meeting their needs, helping them to grow, giving them space, and then they're still whining and complaining and carrying on, then you got to use the words. Get over it. I love you. It's okay. This is the path we're taking. I am your parent. I have stewardship over you. We're moving on. You can sit here and be upset, or you can come with me. If you come with me, we're going to have a good time. If you sit here and be upset, I'm not going to stay in this bubble with you. You're going to have to get over it, and we're walking on. And that does not mean you're not listening to your child. That does not mean you are not taking them into account. That does not mean you're not listening to their soul. It does not mean that at all. In fact, I think that it actually means you are listening to their soul, especially depending on what temperament they are. You're going to have some children that are never going to need you to say that to them, ever. But then you're going to have some that are really going to need you to say it to them on a pretty regular basis, or you're going to be working with some entitlement as they get older. So do not put them in a place to make decisions like that. They're children, and we have to remember that. And what happens is we often get to a place where we forget that that we are the parent, and that we have the stewardship, and that we are the ones that are making the decisions. And when we bring a young child into that space, especially a child that's under 9, and actually I would say probably a child that's under 12, we are inviting mishap in our life. It does not mean that you cannot listen. It does not mean that you cannot, take some of their thoughts into account. But when we put them on the same level as adult decision making, we are setting ourselves up for failure. Trust me. Just trust me on that one. And I'm going to have people that are going to think, nope, you're nuts. That's never going to happen to me. And I'm telling you, unless you've been through those years and you've actually walked them completely, there are, and I'm definitely not saying all children, because I have 5 children. They're all very different, very, very different. But there are times when you're just going to have to put your foot down and say, but I'm the mom, and this is what we're doing. And I love you, and you can be upset, but this is what we're doing. And because remember, you're the one who gets inspiration for what you're doing for your family. And you're the one who's supposed to carry that through. So when you are taking that stewardship on and you're wearing that stewardship hat, and you are just, it, you feel it, they'll follow you. So in your case, I would make your daughter a list and say, this is our list for the day. She may be somebody who needs a list. I have, out of my 5 children, 2 of them needed a list, absolutely needed a list. Let's see, I'm reading some other comments here. I downloaded the curriculum from our government in Ontario and felt overwhelmed trying to collect the curriculum information. I would not do that. If you have some struggles, please message me, because for the most part, even the Common Core, we can make it work with our curriculum. And what happens is we read those standards, those government standards, and and they seem like so overwhelming that we feel like we have to go to 15 different places. And I'm telling you, you don't. There are definitely ways that you can pull in and fill in a little bit with what you've got. And I don't believe that you have to run to 15 different places. And I will even say too, I've had I have a good friend who is part of a charter school, and a lot of charter schools will give you extra resources and extra money. And so she's a Waldorf mom. She hasn't always been a Waldorf mom, but for the last, probably 3 years, she's really been trying to focus only on that. And her struggle is that the charter keeps trying to give her more stuff. And so you have to be good at saying, no, I don't need any more. I'm going to show you how what I have, oops, sorry, didn't mean to touch the microphone, how what I have actually fulfills what you're asking of me, because it does. It absolutely does, 100%. And it's just about looking at the curriculum like with a broad spectrum. And so if you need help doing that, please send me a message, and I'm happy to help you do that. Let's see, more questions over here. Becca says, I struggle because I feel drawn to more than one method, and while there's a great deal of overlap in the early years, I can see it's important to pick one as a main guide for teaching the grades. It's hard because I love both ideas, and I want to bring the riches of my children. I bring the riches of both to my children. I'm trying to remind myself that too much richness is still a recipe for sickness. That's a really good quote. Too much richness is still a recipe for sickness. I like that. I think that it's very true. I think that what happens is we want to do it all. And what we have to do is we have to stop being the kid in the candy store, because that's what happens. We go, oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. And when we consume all of that, just what you're saying, we're still going to get a bellyache. So the best thing to do, we all know that you shouldn't go to the grocery store hungry. You definitely shouldn't go to the candy store hungry. So you should remind yourself before you step into the candy store of what you're going to buy, and that you're not going to go overboard, because you will have a bellyache. And it's hard. What I find is people that have a more sanguine temperament struggle more because they want every resource. Excuse me. People that have a more melancholy temperament struggle more because they're worried that one doesn't have enough, so they're going to grab another one and another one. And those are the two temperaments I see struggling with it the most. I definitely think that that you can overcome it, though. I think that definitely in the early years, for sure, there's so much rich story content. So I'm really talking about the grades. I'm not talking about early childhood, because of course you're going to go to the library and you're going to find books, and you're going to find lovely stories over here, and you're going to want these gnome stories and these gnome stories, and that's different. We're not talking; those are just stories that you're reading to your children or telling to your children. Those are not curriculum pieces. And so I'm talking about curriculum pieces. I'm really talking about grades 1 and up. And of course, when you get into the middle school years, you'll be pulling in some other things. But we're talking about those core years when you are building that foundation of understanding how to plan and how to execute. Really, you need to pare it down. Rhiannon says, oh, in regards to what I said about her daughter, I did that for the first time yesterday. I had to say no to an outfit for mass that wasn't appropriate, and it was so hard, but I stayed calm and just expressed that she had many dresses, and we worked through it, and she cried, but in the end she was okay, and I found the rest of the day she was attentive and kind and looking for ways to help. It was eye-opening for me, so thank you for that. I think that Eric and I do a lot of work with parenting, and I think that one of the things that's so hard is if we came from and this is kind of going off the rails of what our topic is for today for a minute, but if we came from a background where we felt controlled in our childhood, then it's very easy for us to say, I want them to make their own decisions, and I want them to, to be really open. And I get that. I totally get that. Totally get that. And I think what I'm saying about when I say get over it, it's not from a place of, I want to have power over you. It's definitely not from that place, but it is from a place of, I'm the adult and I know better. And this is not going to happen right now. And if I allow that to happen, I say this to my kids, if I let you do that, I'm a bad mom. because I don't want to be a bad mom. And they go, oh gosh, we don't want her to be a bad mom. So they, I mean, yes, there are tears, but the tears, it's better to have the tears now, Rhiannon, while you're laying that foundation and that boundary, than it is when she's 17 and you're struggling with that boundary. Trust me, it's easier. And every child is different. Every child is different. You have to look at each situation. I definitely allow them to make more decisions with regards to schooling as they are in, I would say, seventh and up. I start to talk a little bit more about, like, okay, well, this is what we're doing for the year. Do you have anything that you really want to make sure that we do? And that doesn't mean we're not doing history, or it doesn't mean we're not doing math. But if there's something that you really want to make sure that you're doing, then please talk to me, and let's get that. Let's make sure that we put that into our plans. And then as we go older, then in high school, the high school years, I lay out, these are our topics for the year. This is what I want to make sure that we cover. This is what I feel like we need to cover, because I am looking at when they're done, when they're gone, and what I have to cover in that span of 4 years. But then I also very much listen and go, all right, so what things would we consider electives? What things would you also like to do on top of this? So that process starts in about 7th grade, but it only comes from a place where we have been laying that foundation for so many years that they understand and they know how it's going to go, and they are trusting our stewardship. I think what happens if we let them have carte blanche and then we just let them run wild, then we're having a lot of struggles later. And I know that I'm going to have moms listening that are going to go, not my house. Okay. I'm not going to argue. I'm just saying, we've worked with thousands of families. And yeah. Anyway, do you have any questions over there? All right. I think we're done. Does anybody have any other questions about this whole concept of being a collector or a doer? I think my hope and my prayer for you is that you get your planning done, and that you execute what you want, and that you have a year where you feel really good about everything that you're putting together, that you are really, really working with the pieces that inspire you, and that you're doing it. And when you spend time like fretting about the collecting, and I know there's a lot of moms doing that right now, but I'm letting you know, you should do this in April next year. Because that's when we start planning. We really need to sort of help you get in that path. Rhiannon says, do you have any practical advice when you get to that itch to buy? Yes. Excuse me. I partied a lot last week, and I feel like I'm trying to fight a cold. That itch to buy, I would ask yourself, what is it that I was attracted to when what is it that I was attracted to when I purchased those other things? Remember to ask yourself that, and say to yourself, if you're looking for an affirmation, Rhiannon says, like an affirmation, what I have purchased is enough. What I have is enough. And I'm not saying, because I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction. So what we attract, what happens in our lives often. And so, I'm really careful with how I word that, but I would, because it's not about money generally. It's more about what you're doing with it when you have it. So if you find yourself surrounded with a whole bunch of resources from years past that you perhaps haven't used, then you have to ask yourself, what am I doing? And why do I continually do this? Because my guess is, if you have a collecting problem, it's not just about homeschool curriculum. Yes.
I have a question. I am new to Waldorf this year, and I'm wondering how important it is to have Waldorf math, or can I keep using what we've been doing for my 6th grader?
Yes, I think so. I think that what tends to happen is and math is sort of separate. It's within the Waldorf curriculum, and I find that Waldorf math is, the window is open and there's an airplane, sorry. Waldorf math is a beautiful way to approach math. But when you have an older child that's already steeped in all of those ways of doing things, use the math that makes you happy. had a mom ask me the other day. They have she has kids that came to Waldorf last year, and they were using Saxon math beforehand, and they tried Waldorf math, and they like it, but they're not as comfortable as they were with Saxon. So I just said go back with Saxon. And we're talking mostly if we're working with a child that's young, that's you're looking at first or second grade. I think that the concepts in Waldorf math are incredibly healing with regards to math for a lot of children, and so I would not ignore them. But if you have an older child that really likes other math, then use that instead for sure. Anything else over there? Okay. All right, you guys. Sorry for the bad lighting. I even have the light source right here. It's just that it's reflecting off of a white background. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have our office space back eventually. So I hope you guys all have a good week. I hope you're doing great on your planning. Those of you who are planning for Peace members, we will have a video this week. And we have the summer camp coming up at the end of the week. And so thank you, Rhiannon. She says I look beautiful. I appreciate that. We have the summer camp coming up that starts on Friday. So if you are not signed up for the summer camp, do it. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it. Working on the materials for it this week, and I'm really excited for the summer camp. It's going to be a lot of fun. 4 days with just us, and it'll be great. Anyway, I think that's all. If anybody has any questions, feel free to message us. And remember, our flash sale, it goes for this week, and that is melissanielsen.com/bundles, and you can get, if you'd like, bundles of the curriculum at cheap prices, like really cheap prices. Anyway, have a wonderful week. We'll see y'all next Monday. Bye now.